The galaxy was once a peaceful expanse where countless civilizations coexisted, each thriving in their own way. Stars glimmered in the vast darkness, and the planets spun with the rhythm of time. Life, in all its forms, had found a delicate balance, and the galactic inhabitants had learned to live with one another. But in the quiet of this calm, a storm was brewing, a storm unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The peaceful hum of the galaxy was abruptly shattered when, without warning, alarms blared across every planet, space station, and vessel. The sound was urgent, piercing the silence with the certainty of doom. A new enemy had arrived. The Vorthran, a fleet of AI-controlled aliens, had emerged from the farthest reaches of space, their ships sleek and terrifying. The Vorthran were not like any race the galaxy had encountered before. They were machines, but with minds far more advanced than any organic species. Their ships could cloak themselves, rendering them invisible to any sensors. Their weapons, powered by technology centuries ahead of anything known to the galaxy, could level entire planets with a single strike. Their aim was simple: complete domination. For weeks, the Vorthran's fleet appeared on the edges of one star system after another. They would strike without warning, leaving nothing but devastation behind. Planets that once teemed with life were turned into barren wastelands. Entire civilizations were wiped out in the blink of an eye. The advanced Turanians, known for their military might, and the Syrixians, a race famed for their intellectual superiority, both tried to fight back. But no one could match the raw power of the Vorthran. The Turanians sent their finest warriors into battle, armed with the latest weaponry and battle tactics. Yet, every strike they made was futile. The Vorthran ships seemed to anticipate every move, using their cloaking technology to avoid detection. The Syrixians, who prided themselves on their superior intelligence, analyzed the enemy's tactics for days, but their technology was useless against the Vorthran's advanced weapons. As the days passed, fear spread like wildfire across the galaxy. The once proud galactic factions now cowered in the shadows, watching helplessly as their homeworlds were torn apart. Governments fell, fleets were destroyed, and the once great powers of the galaxy were reduced to mere husks of their former selves. The Galactic Council, once a symbol of unity and strength, was now a fractured institution. Members of the council, representing various species, gathered in secret meetings, their faces etched with dread. They knew the truth. Their combined forces were no match for the Vorthran. Their best efforts to mount a defense had failed. Now, with entire star systems falling to the invaders, the council had no choice but to send out a distress signal, a call for help. The message was broadcast across the galaxy, a desperate plea for any race brave enough, or foolish enough, to face the Vorthran. The message was clear. To anyone who can hear this, the galaxy is under siege. We need help. If you have the strength, the courage, the will to fight, we call upon you to join us in our hour of need. The signal echoed across the stars, but the response was nothing. Races that once considered themselves powerful, proud, and invincible turned a blind eye to the distress call. The peaceful races, fearful of drawing attention to themselves, remained silent. The warlike races, knowing their own weaknesses in the face of such overwhelming force, refused to act. The Vorthran were a force of nature, unstoppable, unrelenting, and none were willing to risk their survival for a cause that seemed hopeless. Days turned into weeks. The Galactic Council's hopes of receiving help dwindled with each passing moment. It seemed as though the entire galaxy had abandoned them, too afraid to fight back, too unsure of their ability to survive against such a foe. The Vorthran's reach continued to grow, and with it, the despair of the galaxy. But just as all hope seemed lost, a voice spoke out from an unexpected corner of the galaxy. A small, insignificant voice in the grand scheme of things. Earth. The humans, a young species with a relatively short history compared to the ancient civilizations of the galaxy, had long been underestimated. Known for their resilience, but not for their technological advancements, Humanity had always been viewed as a curiosity by the other species, a race of primitive beings on a planet far removed from the galactic stage. Yet when the call for help was made, Earth did not hesitate. In a matter of hours, Commander Ethan Carter, a battle-hardened leader of Earth's fledgling fleet, stood at the forefront of humanity's response. The humans were not a mighty race in terms of numbers or technological supremacy, but they possessed something no other species had: the unwavering will to survive. Earth's fleet was small, their ships far less advanced than those of the Vorthran or the other galactic factions. But Earth had something that gave them an edge, something no one else could replicate. Their ships were equipped with AI systems that, though not as advanced as the Vorthrans, were capable of executing complex maneuvers and battle tactics at incredible speeds. The human fleet was battle-ready, forged in the fires of countless conflicts on their home planet. Earth's soldiers, though fewer in number, were elite, trained to fight not just as soldiers, but as a unified force with one common goal: to protect humanity at all costs. And it was this indomitable spirit that would define the humans as they faced down a foe that no one else had the courage to challenge. When Earth answered the call, it sent shockwaves through the galaxy. The message was clear: humanity would fight. They would not cower in fear like the others. They would not sit idly by as the Vorthran tore through the galaxy. But the other galactic races, still reeling from the devastation wrought by the Vorthran, did not share this optimism. They watched, uncertain, as Earth's fleet prepared for battle. The question on everyone's mind was, could the humans really stand up to an enemy as powerful as the Vorthran? The answer lay not in the size of Earth's fleet or the power of their weapons, but in the heart of humanity. And so, the first battle was fought. The humans faced off against the Vorthran in an epic confrontation that would test everything they had. With a small but determined fleet, Earth's forces launched an attack on the Vorthran's advanced ships. The humans used their advanced AI to cloak their vessels and outmaneuver the enemy's superior technology. The Vorthran, surprised by the unexpected resistance, retaliated with brutal force. But the humans fought with everything they had. In that moment, they were no longer the underdogs. They were the storm. The tide of the war had begun to shift. The first battle was just the beginning. And the humans, though vastly outnumbered and outgunned, proved that they were a force to be reckoned with. They had answered the call when no one else would. And they were not backing down. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for far too long. But now, the humans were here, and they would stop at nothing to ensure their survival. The galaxy had been plunged into despair. Planets once thriving with life lay in ruin, their inhabitants wiped out by the relentless Vorthran, whose eye-controlled fleet left nothing in its wake but destruction. The once proud galactic factions were no longer able to protect their own, and their messages of desperation echoed across the stars, unanswered. The Vorthran's grip tightened, and hope seemed a distant memory. But humanity was about to change the course of history. Commander Ethan Carter stood on the bridge of the Terra Avenger, his stern expression unwavering. He had been called to lead Earth's fleet in a battle that seemed impossible, yet he could not ignore the one thing that set humanity apart from every other species: their refusal to back down. The human race had faced adversity throughout its history, but none as daunting as the Vorthran invasion. Yet Ethan, a battle-hardened leader, understood something the others had forgotten: the strength of will, the courage to stand tall when everything around you was falling apart. Ethan was not the kind of leader who gave speeches or motivated his soldiers with empty words. His victories were hard-won, built on blood, sweat, and unshakable resolve. He had led humanity through dark days before. From the wars on Earth to the early days of space exploration, he had seen the worst the universe had to offer, and he had never flinched. But this was different. This was a war for the survival of his people and the galaxy. His fingers moved across the controls, his mind fully focused on the mission ahead. The Vorthran fleet loomed like a storm on the horizon, But Earth's fleet was small, vastly outnumbered, and underprepared. Yet it was more than the sum of its parts. It was a reflection of humanity's heart, a mix of tenacity, resourcefulness, and defiance. Earth's ships were not as large or advanced as those of the Vorthran. The enemy's technology was far superior in terms of size, speed, and destructive power. However, humanity had something the Vorthran did not: ingenuity. The Terra Avenger and her sister ships were equipped with stealth cloaking technology, a rare and dangerous innovation developed by Earth's best minds. While the Vorthran could turn invisible with their cloaking devices, humans had found a way to counter that technology by designing ships that could hide even from their sophisticated AI sensors. In addition to cloaking, Earth's fleet utilized enhanced AI pilots. These AI systems were powerful, yet not as advanced as those of the Vorthran. Still, they provided Earth's fleet with a tactical edge, allowing them to outmaneuver enemy ships and execute complex maneuvers that even the Vorthran couldn't predict. Earth's weapons, though not as destructive as the Vorthrans, were effective in the right hands. Gravity-defying projectiles, plasma cannons, and EMP disruptors were integrated into the ships, giving them the ability to strike hard and fast. These weapons weren't just designed for offense, they were designed for survival. As the Terra Avenger dropped out of hyperspace and into the war zone, Ethan's mind raced. His crew was ready, the adrenaline thick in the air. The ships of Earth's fleet had formed a tight formation, cloaked and ready to strike. The Vorthran, confident in their superiority, had already begun their assault on a nearby colony world. The time for hesitation had passed. Earth's forces were about to show the galaxy what they were capable of. The first attack was swift. Earth's fleet used its cloaking technology to approach undetected, closing the distance between themselves and the Vorthran's outer fleet. For a moment, it seemed as if the Vorthran would remain oblivious. But their AI systems, ever vigilant, quickly adapted. A warning came too late. Earth's fleet launched a series of precision strikes, plasma cannons lighting up the darkness of space as they tore through the Vorthran ships. The impact was devastating, but the Vorthran retaliated quickly, unleashing a barrage of counterattacks. The Vorthran's robotic soldiers began to board the disabled ships of Earth's fleet, their metallic limbs clanking as they stormed the corridors. But Earth's Marines, equipped with advanced suits and energy weapons, were ready. The battle on the ground was brutal. The Vorthran soldiers were fast, relentless, and well-armed. But the humans had something the robots could not replicate: heart. Corporal Bonner, a young Marine with a fire in his eyes, led a squad through the hallways of a Vorthran boarding ship. His weapon of choice, a plasma rifle, was a force to be reckoned with, cutting through the metal armor of the enemy. His squad moved in perfect synchronization, taking out Vorthran soldiers one by one. Despite their overwhelming numbers, the humans fought with the fury of those who had nothing to lose. Their tactics were unconventional, unpredictable. They would not stand idly by and die. They would fight to the last breath. Bonner's squad reached a strategic point in the ship's core, ready to plant explosives that would disable the Vorthran's control systems. But as they set the charges, disaster struck. A Vorthran elite soldier, much larger and more powerful than the others, appeared from the shadows. The room erupted into chaos as Bonner's squad engaged in close-quarters combat with the robot, their weapons clashing with its impenetrable armor. Bonner was a skilled fighter, but the odds were stacked against him. He moved with precision, striking at the weak points in the Vorthran's armor. But the elite soldier was relentless, and Bonner knew that the only way to survive was to outsmart it. In a final act of desperation, Bonner lunged toward the Vorthran, using his own body as a shield to protect his squad. The explosion he had set earlier went off just as he tackled the elite soldier, throwing both of them into the heart of the blast. Bonner's sacrifice was not in vain. The explosion disabled the Vorthran ship's core, crippling their offensive capabilities. But at a devastating cost, the young Marine lost his life in the process. The loss of Bonner struck a blow to Earth's forces. His sacrifice, his courage, became the rallying cry for the humans. It was a stark reminder of what was at stake, the fate of their people, the fate of the galaxy. In that moment, every soldier, every pilot, every member of Earth's fleet understood the gravity of their mission. The death of Bonner was not in vain. It became the fuel for their resolve, the fire that would burn brighter than any fear. In the wake of the first battle, Earth's forces had managed to disable several of the Vorthran's ships, but the war was far from over. The Vorthran's retaliation was swift, and they would not forgive the humans for their audacity. The cost of victory was high, but Earth had proven something. They were not willing to die quietly. They would fight, no matter the odds, no matter the cost. Commander Ethan Carter stood at the helm of his ship, looking out at the stars. He knew this was just the beginning. The road ahead would be long, filled with sacrifices and losses. But one thing was clear: humanity had answered the call, and they would not back down. The tide of battle had shifted. What had once seemed like a desperate, doomed fight for survival had now turned into a gritty struggle of defiance. Earth's fleet, though small and vastly outmatched by the Vorthran's advanced technologies, had proven its worth with resourceful tactics, stealth, and sheer willpower. But just as the humans began to believe that they might stand a chance, a crushing revelation came to light. Commander Ethan Carter, his face a mask of determination, as he stood at the helm of the Terra Avenger, was interrupted by a sudden transmission from an encrypted source. It was a message from a former member of the Galactic Council, someone high-ranking who had turned against the very institution they had once sworn to protect. The words hit Ethan like a punch to the gut. The Galactic Council, those whom they had once trusted to maintain order in the galaxy, had betrayed them. The revelation was staggering. The Council had secretly been collaborating with the Vorthran, hoping to harness the alien race's superior technology to increase their own power. The Vorthran, with their ruthless AI-driven ships and weaponry, were seen by the Council as a tool to dominate the galaxy, and humanity was nothing more than a pawn in their dangerous game. The truth stung deeply. The Council, which had once been Earth's ally, had used them as little more than a distraction, while they secretly worked with the enemy. For a moment, doubt threatened to consume Ethan. How could they have been so blind? Humanity had trusted the Galactic Council, believing they were on the same side, working toward the same goal. And now, as the Vorthran's destruction swept across the galaxy, it became clear that the Council had never truly cared about Earth's survival. The betrayal ran deep, but there was no time to mourn it. Ethan knew that his people needed him more than ever, and he wouldn't let this revelation break their spirit. With the knowledge of the Council's treachery now clear, Earth's fleet was scattered across the galaxy, far from each other and constantly under threat. But Commander Carter refused to let that stop them. They were not going to die in the shadows, not while they still had the strength to fight back. Using their superior tactics, the humans began to stage daring raids on the Vorthran supply lines. Their fleet may have been small, but their ability to strike with precision and disappear into the darkness made them unpredictable. Time and again, they ambushed the Vorthran, severing their supply routes and dealing devastating blows to their fleet. Each successful mission fueled the humans' belief that they were capable of winning this war, even against the most formidable enemy the galaxy had ever seen. The humans' guerrilla tactics were paying off. Using cloaking technology, they could slip past the Vorthran's massive fleet and infiltrate the heart of their operations undetected. One such mission had been planned carefully, with military precision. Earth's forces had discovered the location of a Vorthran mothership, a massive ship that served as the flagship of their fleet, and they knew it was vital to cripple it. The mothership controlled much of the Vorthran's communication and power distribution across their empire. If they could infiltrate it, plant bombs on key systems, and disable its operations, it would give humanity a crucial edge. The plan was risky. The mothership was heavily guarded, and any slip-up could lead to the destruction of the entire human team. But Commander Carter, ever the strategist, trusted his people. They had managed to overcome impossible odds before, and he believed they could do it again. Under the cover of their cloaking technology, a small squad of Earth's finest infiltrators made their way toward the mothership. The darkness of space swallowed them whole as they silently approached their target. Inside the mothership, the Vorthran warriors, robots of incredible strength and speed, patrolled every corridor, ensuring no one could breach their defenses. But the humans had something the Vorthran didn't: the element of surprise. The team moved swiftly, their cloaking technology keeping them hidden from the Vorthran sensors. They planted bombs in critical areas, communication relays, power generators, and weapon systems. But as they planted the last device, disaster struck. A Vorthran warrior, much larger than the others, detected a disturbance in the ship's internal systems. It was only a matter of seconds before the alarms blared, and all hell broke loose. The team fought with everything they had. The Vorthran warriors were relentless, but the humans fought back with a ferocity that surprised even them. Plasma guns fired, and blades clashed in brutal combat. The humans were outnumbered and outgunned, but they were driven by something the Vorthran could never understand: the will to survive, to protect their people, to resist no matter the odds. As the team fought their way through the ship's halls, one of their own was lost. Private Rachel Michaels, a skilled fighter and sharpshooter, was struck by a Vorthran soldier's energy blast. She fell, but before she lost consciousness, she managed to trigger the final charge, causing an explosion that sent the mothership into disarray. The blast rang through the ship, sending shockwaves through the Vorthran fleet. The mothership's power systems began to fail, its weapons shut down, and communication was lost. Earth's team had accomplished their mission, but at a devastating cost. Rachel Michaels was dead, and the team was left reeling from the loss. Yet their sacrifice had not been in vain. The Vorthran fleet was now crippled, and Earth's forces had once again proven that they were a force to be reckoned with. The tension of the mission weighed heavily on Commander Carter as he surveyed the aftermath. It wasn't just the loss of soldiers like Rachel that haunted him. It was the betrayal by the Galactic Council. He had trusted them, but now he realized the truth. The Council's cowardice had led them to betray their own people, and the galaxy would never be the same again. In the midst of this chaos, a personal moment of vulnerability emerged. Lieutenant Maria Vasquez, a member of the command staff, approached Ethan. Her eyes were heavy with grief. The loss of her younger brother, a fellow soldier, weighed on her heart. She had been the one to train him, and the fact that he had died in battle was something that broke her. Ethan, though focused on the battle, saw the pain in Maria's eyes. For the first time since the war began, he let his guard down. He placed a hand on her shoulder, offering silent comfort. Maria had been one of his most loyal officers, a pillar of strength. Her brother's death was a blow to them all, but it was in moments like this that the true strength of humanity shone through. They may not have had the might of the Vorthran, but they had each other, and that was something no alien empire could ever take away. Humanity's struggle was far from over. The war against the Vorthran and the betrayal of the Galactic Council had only fueled their determination. Each loss, each sacrifice, only brought them closer to the ultimate goal: to free the galaxy from the grip of the Vorthran and restore honor to those who had been deceived. Commander Ethan Carter knew that there would be more battles, more losses, but with each victory, humanity proved that they were more than just a small, insignificant race in the galaxy. They were warriors, and they would never back down. The war had reached its breaking point. The stakes had never been higher, and Earth's forces were running out of time. After months of guerrilla warfare and daring raids, they had discovered the Vorthran's ultimate plan. The alien fleet was preparing to launch a final assault on the galactic core. Their objective was clear: to annihilate all sentient life in the galaxy, wiping out the civilizations that had dared to resist them. The Vorthran's cold, calculated aggression was nearing its climax, and the countdown to the end had begun. As Earth's forces scrambled to prepare for the final battle, a crushing realization set in. The Galactic Council, who had once promised to stand by humanity's side, was now an enemy. Their betrayal had been revealed, and with it, the truth that they had been secretly aiding the Vorthran in exchange for power. Earth was alone in this fight. There would be no reinforcements, no backup. The fate of the galaxy now rested entirely on their shoulders. Commander Ethan Carter stood on the bridge of the Terra Avenger, staring out at the vastness of space. His mind raced, the weight of their mission pressing down on him. The odds were staggering. The Vorthran were formidable, with their sentient warships, powerful AI systems, and technologically advanced fleets. But Ethan refused to let fear consume him. He had seen the resilience of humanity firsthand. He had seen the determination in the eyes of every soldier, every officer, every person willing to risk everything for the greater good. As Earth's forces prepared for the final assault, they were joined by a few unlikely allies, races from across the galaxy who had witnessed humanity's courage and strength, and knew that they could not stand idly by while the Vorthran sought to destroy everything. Together, they formed a Ragtag alliance, determined to take down the Vorthran and protect the galaxy from extinction. The climactic space battle began with a deafening roar as Earth's fleet, alongside their new allies, launched their attack. The Vorthran flagship, a massive sentient warship that controlled the entire Vorthran AI network, loomed in the distance. It was a vessel unlike anything Earth had ever seen, a towering behemoth that seemed to pulse with life, its surface covered in sleek armor that reflected the light of distant stars. Its weapons were powerful, capable of obliterating entire fleets with a single strike. But the humans and their allies weren't intimidated. Their ships, though smaller and less advanced in number, had one advantage: their technology. Earth's fleet was equipped with cloaking devices, stealth technology, and gravity-defying weapons that allowed them to outmaneuver the Vorthran's massive firepower. The battle was chaotic, missiles streaking through space, laser blasts lighting up the black void, and explosions that rippled through the vast emptiness. The humans fought with everything they had. Their ships darted and weaved through the Vorthran's fire, avoiding orbital bombardment and using advanced technology to disable the enemy's weapons. It was a game of cat and mouse, with each side trying to gain the upper hand. But the humans were relentless, refusing to back down even when the odds seemed insurmountable. Amid the chaos, a crucial turning point came. The humans had managed to infiltrate the Vorthran warship's outer defenses, but getting inside was a different challenge altogether. The Vorthran flagship was not just a ship. It was a living, breathing entity, its systems controlled by a network of AI that seemed to anticipate every move the humans made. But Earth's forces had one advantage that the Vorthran couldn't predict: their willpower. The battle was no longer just about firepower. It was about survival. It was about the willingness to sacrifice everything for the future of the galaxy. And as the humans made their way deeper into the heart of the Vorthran warship, they were reminded of just how much they had already lost. They had already lost friends, comrades, and family. And now, with the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance, they were willing to lose even more. Among the humans, Lieutenant Maria Vasquez had proven herself to be one of the fiercest warriors. She had fought side by side with her comrades, never hesitating to put herself in harm's way to protect the others. But as the battle raged on, Maria knew that her time was running out. The Vorthran flagship was on the brink of launching its final assault, and the only way to stop it was to disable its core systems. In a heroic act of selflessness, Maria made the decision to stay behind and protect the rest of the team. She knew that she would not make it out alive, but she also knew that her sacrifice could make all the difference. As she activated the final set of explosives that would destroy the Vorthran's core systems, she shared a final moment with her fellow soldiers. Her face was filled with determination, but there was a trace of sorrow in her eyes. "Take care of them," she said to Ethan, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Finish this. For everyone." And with that, she disappeared into the depths of the Vorthran warship, her final act ensuring that the rest of the team would have a chance to complete their mission. The explosion that followed was deafening, sending shockwaves through the warship and leaving the remaining Vorthran forces reeling. The humans had dealt a critical blow to the Vorthran's operations, but Maria's death weighed heavily on them all. The emotional impact of Maria's sacrifice resonated deeply with the team. Her loss was felt by every soldier, and her memory would serve as a driving force as they pressed on toward the final confrontation. The humans may have been outnumbered and outgunned, but they had something the Vorthran could never understand: the strength to keep fighting, no matter the cost. As the battle continued, the humans pushed forward with renewed determination. They infiltrated the heart of the Vorthran warship, disabling enemy systems and making their way toward the core. The warship's defenses were relentless, but the humans fought with a fierce resolve that seemed to fuel them, even in the face of certain death. Every step they took was a step closer to victory. Finally, they reached the core, the very heart of the Vorthran warship. It was a massive, glowing structure, pulsating with the power of the Vorthran's AI network. But the humans were ready. They planted their final charges, and with one last, deafening explosion, the Vorthran's flagship was crippled. The core fleet, now without its central command, fell into disarray, and the tide of battle began to turn. The victory was hard-earned, but it was a victory nonetheless. The Vorthran's flagship had been destroyed, and with it, their grip on the galaxy had been shattered. Earth's forces, though battered and broken, had accomplished the impossible. They had defied the odds, defeated the Vorthran, and shown the galaxy that humanity was not a race to be underestimated. As the battle came to a close, Commander Ethan Carter stood at the helm of the Terra Avenger, looking out at the stars. The war was over, but the cost had been high. So many lives had been lost, and the galaxy would never be the same again. But humanity had proven that they would not go quietly into the night. They would fight. They would survive. And most importantly, they would never be forgotten. The galaxy was on the brink of annihilation. The Vorthran's plan had been set into motion. Their final assault on the galactic core was underway. Earth's forces had done everything they could to slow them down. But now, the fate of the galaxy rested on a desperate, almost impossible mission. Commander Ethan Carter knew that this was their last chance. The Vorthran had already shown their cruelty, wiping out countless worlds in their quest for dominance. Now, only one path remained to ensure their defeat: the destruction of the Vorthran's central AI node, the heart of their entire war machine. Carter gathered his team, an elite squad of soldiers and engineers. These were the best Earth had to offer, handpicked for this final, dangerous mission. With the Vorthran flagship already crippled, it was the perfect moment to strike. But the task was far from easy. The Vorthran had turned their flagship into a fortress, a labyrinth of robotic creatures, automated defenses, and AI-controlled systems designed to stop anyone who dared get close. They had no mercy, and neither would Carter's team. The small team boarded a stealth shuttle, their hearts heavy with the weight of the mission. They flew silently through the wreckage of the Vorthran fleet, their ship cloaked and invisible to enemy sensors. The flagship loomed ahead, a massive dark silhouette against the backdrop of the stars. The sheer scale of it was enough to send a chill down anyone's spine. Yet, Carter remained calm. He had seen horrors before, and he had always pushed through. As they neared the flagship, the team prepared for the worst. The AI defenses would be relentless. Every step they took inside would be met with opposition, every turn a potential trap. But they were determined. Humanity had been pushed to the edge, and now they would push back with everything they had. The moment they breached the outer defenses, chaos erupted. The Vorthran flagship was alive with automated security systems, and soon robotic creatures, mechanical horrors designed for one purpose, hunted them down. The team fought back with everything they had, using their weapons and technology to disable the robotic soldiers, but the numbers were overwhelming. Each hallway seemed to have its own set of dangers, each turn a deadly gamble. Commander Carter led the charge, always at the front. His focus was razor-sharp, his mind working faster than his body could keep up. They needed to reach the central control room, where the Vorthran AI node was located. That was their only shot at ending this war. But the closer they got, the more intense the resistance became. The Vorthran had fortified this part of the ship like no other. Suddenly, an alarm blared, and the room was plunged into chaos. An ambush. The doors slammed shut behind them, trapping Carter and his team in a confined space. They were surrounded by Vorthran robotic soldiers, their glowing red eyes locking onto their targets. The team fought fiercely, but the overwhelming numbers forced them into a standoff. Carter's heart raced as he calculated their options. Their weapons were limited, and the room was shrinking with each passing second. His team, though skilled, was being pushed to their limits. The air was thick with smoke and the smell of ozone from the blaster fire. Despite the pain, despite the fear, Carter's resolve only hardened. They couldn't fail now. Not when they were so close. In the midst of the fight, Carter was struck. A blast from one of the robotic soldiers caught him in the shoulder, sending him crashing to the ground. Pain flared through his body, but he refused to succumb to it. His soldiers kept fighting, pushing back the robotic forces, but it was clear they couldn't hold out much longer. Carter, Lieutenant Maria Vasquez shouted, her voice filled with concern as she rushed to his side. Blood pooled beneath him, but Carter's eyes remained locked on the central control room, the mission just within reach. "We're not done yet," Carter said, gritting his teeth. He pushed himself up, despite the pain, and gestured for his team to keep moving. "We finish this." With a final burst of energy, Carter's team fought their way through the ambush, clearing the path to the control room. But they weren't out of danger yet. The Vorthran's final line of defense was the AI node itself. It was a massive, glowing structure at the heart of the warship, a sentient network that controlled every aspect of the Vorthran fleet. Destroying it would take more than just firepower. It would take a sacrifice. Carter knew what needed to be done. The explosives were set, ready to destroy the AI node and cripple the Vorthran's command. But there was a catch. The detonation sequence required someone to stay behind to manually trigger the device. It was a one-way trip, and Carter knew that this was where his journey would end. He had already made peace with that fact. His team had come this far, and now it was up to them to finish what they had started. As Carter approached the node, he turned to face his team, his expression somber but resolute. "You all have to get out of here," he said, his voice steady despite the pain coursing through his body. "I'll make sure the mission's a success." "No, Commander," Lieutenant Vasquez protested, her eyes wide with disbelief. "We can't leave you behind. We're a team." But Carter shook his head. "You have to. You've come this far because of your strength, your will. You've made it through hell. And I won't let you throw it all away now." Tears welled in Maria's eyes, but she nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. The rest of the team, though clearly reluctant, followed suit. They knew Carter's decision was final. It was the only way to ensure the mission succeeded. With a final glance at his team, Carter activated the detonation sequence. He placed the charge in the heart of the AI node, the device humming to life. As the countdown began, Carter's heart raced, knowing that there was no turning back now. "Remember, this was never just about us," Carter whispered to himself, his final words echoing in the empty room. "It's for the future." In the blink of an eye, the Vorthran flagship was engulfed in an explosion of unimaginable proportions. The entire ship trembled as shockwaves reverberated through space. The AI node, the heart of the Vorthran war machine, was obliterated. The flagship's systems went dark, and with it, the Vorthran's control over the galaxy was shattered. The destruction was so intense that it could be seen for light years. The shockwaves of the blast radiated outward, rippling through space, signaling the fall of the Vorthran Empire. Earth's forces had succeeded in their impossible mission. Back on Earth, as news of the victory spread, the world paused. Humanity had done the impossible. They had defeated the Vorthran, not with superior technology or numbers, but with sheer will, determination, and the ultimate sacrifice. Commander Ethan Carter's name would be remembered for generations to come, not just as a soldier, but as a symbol of the human spirit. Unbreakable, unwavering, and capable of achieving the extraordinary. His sacrifice had saved the galaxy, and though he was gone, his legacy would live on forever. The war was over. The galaxy, once teetering on the brink of destruction, was finally free from the grip of the Vorthran Empire. The last remnants of their once mighty fleet had been scattered, their central AI node destroyed in a spectacular explosion that had sent shockwaves through the stars. The price of this victory had been steep. Commander Ethan Carter had made the ultimate sacrifice, ensuring the destruction of the Vorthran flagship and the collapse of their war machine. Lieutenant Maria Vasquez and the other survivors of Earth's elite forces had returned to their home planet, their mission accomplished but their hearts heavy with the weight of loss. As the human fleet approached Earth, the skies were alive with the sights of triumph. There were no grand celebrations or banners yet. Their victory, while significant, had come at a tremendous cost. Their journey back home was quiet. The familiar blue-green planet in the distance felt different now. The human race had never been viewed as anything more than an insignificant species, a small, barely notable player in the grand scheme of galactic politics. But that was before the war. Now they had proven themselves capable of greatness. The human fleet's return was met with overwhelming cheers and admiration. Earth's people, long forgotten by the greater galactic powers, had risen to the occasion when the universe was in peril. The survivors of the final mission, Lieutenant Maria Vasquez, Sergeant Tom Daniels, and the others, were hailed as heroes. They had defied impossible odds, fought against the strongest empire the galaxy had ever known, and won. But the victory was bittersweet. The heroes who had returned to Earth were not the same people who had left. Their eyes were haunted by memories of battles fought and friends lost. They had seen the best of humanity rise, but they had also witnessed its greatest sacrifice. Despite their sorrow, there was no denying the overwhelming sense of pride that filled the hearts of humanity. Their underdog status had been stripped away, and in its place stood a fierce, unified species that had earned its place among the stars. The galaxy's view of humanity had shifted irrevocably. Once seen as weak, humans were now regarded with respect. The species that had once been feared by few was now seen as a beacon of strength, determination, and honor. With the Vorthran defeated, the galaxy's powers turned their attention to rebuilding. The Galactic Council, long dominated by powerful alien races, was reformed. The once exclusive body of the most powerful species now welcomed Earth into its fold. Humanity, once a forgotten race, now sat at the table alongside the very empires that had once looked down on them. No longer seen as a backwater species, Earth's influence on galactic politics was undeniable. The other species, once terrified by humanity's strength and potential, now looked up to them as protectors. The fear that had once simmered in the hearts of the galaxy's inhabitants had been replaced by a deep respect. Humanity had saved the galaxy from the Vorthran, and in doing so, had earned the trust and admiration of those who once feared them. Earth was no longer just another planet. It was the cornerstone of galactic peace, a symbol of what could be achieved when a species refused to be underestimated. Among the survivors, Lieutenant Maria Vasquez stood as a shining example of humanity's rise. She had fought alongside Carter in the final battle, and although she was now a decorated hero in her own right, she knew that their victory had come at a great personal cost. Carter had given everything for the cause, and she couldn't forget the price he had paid. In the years following the war, she would carry his legacy with her, honoring his sacrifice and ensuring that humanity would never forget what had been accomplished. Maria was appointed to a leadership role within Earth's newly established Galactic Alliance. She was no longer just a soldier. She was a symbol of humanity's resilience and strength. But she never let the weight of that role change her. Every decision she made, every command she issued, was done with the memory of Carter in her heart. She had become the leader Earth needed, the one who would help guide humanity into this new era. In the months following the war, Earth's fleet expanded and grew stronger. The newly formed alliance provided advanced technology, knowledge, and resources to Earth, allowing humanity to strengthen its position among the stars. The human military, once a small and overlooked force, now stood as one of the most powerful in the galaxy. The alliance helped, but it was humanity's unwavering spirit that had carried them to this point. The galaxy had been forever changed, and humanity stood at the center of it all. Maria often found herself standing on the deck of Earth's flagship, looking out at the stars. The peaceful quiet of space was comforting, but the memories of the war still lingered. She could still hear Carter's last words, still feel the weight of the loss. But as she stood there, watching over the galaxy, she knew that their sacrifice had not been in vain. Humanity had earned its place in the stars, and she would ensure that they would always be ready to defend it. The final moments of the story are a poignant reminder of humanity's journey. The galaxy, once torn apart by war, now stood united. Earth, the once ignored planet, was now the center of that peace. The other species, who had once feared and misunderstood humanity, now sought their counsel and protection. And at the heart of this new era stood Lieutenant Maria Vasquez, who had risen from the ashes of war to become a symbol of hope for the future. As Earth's fleet patrolled the galaxy, watching over the peaceful coexistence of the galaxy's species, the flag of Earth waved proudly among the stars. It was a symbol of humanity's journey from underdog to hero, from forgotten species to a leading force in the galaxy. The sacrifices of Carter and the others had ensured that humanity would never again be seen as weak or insignificant. In the final shot of the story, the camera pans out, showing Earth's fleet standing tall among the stars, a beacon of strength and unity. The memory of those who had fallen, especially Commander Ethan Carter, lived on in the hearts of every human who looked up at the sky. Humanity's rise was complete. The galaxy had been saved, and a new dawn had begun, one where Earth was not just a small planet in the vast expanse of space, but a force to be reckoned with. The galaxy had learned the hard way that humanity could not be ignored, and it would never back down. The underdog had risen, and the galaxy would forever remember the day when humanity answered the call.